Well, hey guys, welcome back again to my Appalachian Life. Thanks for joining in today for our final reading of the booklet called Memories of a Country Home. And this is the writings of Hazel George Baker, who was born in 1921, and she wrote down memories of what it was like growing up for her and her family. She had 5 other siblings. Her parents had 3 boys and 3 girls. I think she was number 4 in that group of children. So we're picking up today. We're going to read her testimony and some other sections, and we'll just finish the little booklet up today. So the next section she wrote is called My Testimony. Okay, I shall never forget July 12, 1933. Dad and I went to a revival at Grassy Creek. Nath King was preaching. They sang Nothing But the Blood and made an altar call. I was only 12 years old, but I thought, why don't they ask me? It was the first time I had felt this way, so I went to the altar. I was sitting on the second seat of the middle aisle of the church. I realized Christ died for me, and I wanted him to come into my heart. Don't ask me how it happened, but I suddenly had the most peaceful feeling, and my heart was strangely warmed. I knew that God had saved me. I couldn't wait to be baptized. The night I was saved, we walked the 3 miles home, and the old devil kept telling me, they will laugh at you and say that you're too young. But then I would have a happy feeling, and I know it would be all right. Dad's head was swimming that night when we crossed the footlog at John Welch's, and I had to hold him. I carried the lantern, too. Nath King and Preacher Foote baptized me in the creek near Scott Dotson's home. Willard and Fred Fields, Kent Byerly, Helen and Lucille Osborne were also baptized that day. I have not lived as close to the Lord as I should have, but I can always remember back to that night and know it was real. Thank you, Lord. The next section is called Typhoid Fever. Typhoid fever was the feared disease in those days. When I was 10 years old, I had typhoid fever. I did not walk for 6 weeks. Everyone thought I would die. My hair all came out. I wore a tam to school that year. Helen also had it, but not as bad. The same year after we recovered, the Perry neighbors had the fever. They lost 3 out of their family. Everybody was afraid to go around them, so Mother and Dad cared for them. Mother washed clothes for them on the washboard, and neither she nor Dad caught the disease. Guess the good Lord took care of them. Approximately 2 years later, we had lost our dear sister Clara to typhoid. Oh, that's sad. So sad. So the next section is called To Clara, and a tribute. So this is a picture of her sister Clara. I'm just making sure I can get it in the camera for you to see. Clara was a special girl. She was fair, had blue eyes, and light brown hair that always curls. She was a good girl, never causing our parents any problem. She had a rocking chair, and when she was small, she would sit for hours rocking the kitten. As Clara grew up, she always went places with Deward. Young people were often in her home on Sunday afternoons. She was loved by all. Clara was always willing to help with the chores at home and loved to go to church. She enjoyed the fellowship, and she gave her heart to the Lord at an early age. I remember one dress she especially liked to wear, a sleeveless beige silk dress with a lace-pointed collar. She was also so pretty in the color blue. In 1931, when Clara was 18, tragedy struck our home. Clara was a senior in high school and was eager to get her class ring, which was at the Castlewood post office. She suddenly became ill with gastric typhoid fever and died within 2 weeks, never seeing her class ring. Everyone loved her, and we felt we had lost an angel. At the Temple Hill School graduation that year, a tribute was read in her memory. And this is called a tribute, May of 1931. A kind face and a loving heart is absent from our ranks today. A girl who always had a kind word or a smile for everyone. She was our beloved member, Clara George. It fills our heart with sadness when we think of her, but this is our solace. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Green be the turf above thee, friend of our high school days. None knew thee but to love thee, nor named thee but to praise. And that was authored by Carrie Porter. The next section is about Mother and Dad, and this is a picture of her mother and dad. Mother worked hard and trained us well. She took us to visit neighbors, Mrs. Bill Hartsock, Mrs. Ollie Mays, and others. She always told us to never ask for food or a drink, and when she looked hard at us, we were afraid not to mind her. My mother had that look too. When you got the look, you knew you better straighten up. Mother was an ambitious person. She raised and sold turkeys to get us new shoes in the fall for school. She helped us with her homework. She used to wear men's old shoes and do without so we could have clothes, and that's Mother. Mother sewed well and made the girls beautiful dresses. I was so proud of my first suit. It was a beige skirt with a brown and beige jacket. She also pieced and quilted beautiful quilts. We had good meals cooked from the vegetables we raised. Mother seemed to know just how to make the best of whatever we had. We had lots of sweet potatoes for the winter stored upstairs in a box. Apples were buried in hay in the barn. We had plenty of apple butter to last all winter. Dad raised popcorn for us to pop and peanuts to roast. In the fall, Dad would take a wagon load of wheat to Joe Hartsock's mill on Moccasin. He would leave a bushel of corn at Nath Jesse's or Scott Dotson's for meal. When he returned, we would all help carry the flour upstairs. When tobacco was sold, Dad bought 100 pounds each of soup beans, sugar, and salt. We would be so excited over this. Dad always said the blessing when we sat down to eat. We had a bench on one side of the table. Dad had a stool at the head of the table. Sometimes we would get tickled and Dad would make us leave the table until we stopped laughing. I always wondered why. Then at bedtime, Dad knelt by his bed and prayed for us. He read the Bible a lot and loved to sing. He could sing the notes to songs. If he was feeling too bad to kneel, we worried about him. He taught us to always keep the promises we made. In so many ways, I would like to be like him. That was sweet. The next section is called Time and Changes. Time has made a change in the old home place, and time has made a change in me. We grew up, finished high school, and married. Hazel married John Baker on May 13, 1939, almost 49 years ago. Helen married Junior Shell on September 13, 1946. Junior was killed in an explosion at Tennessee Eastman on October 4 of 1960. I hate that. Gordon went to the Army in 1945. Dad was not well and needed him on the farm, so Gordon got a discharge in 1946. He painted and fixed up the old home place, and we were proud of it. Dad passed away April 27, 1947. Mother and Gordon stayed on at the home place for 2 years, then moved to their new house close to Lakeview Church. Gordon married Shirley Newman on March 4, 1954. Mother had 21 happy years in her little house. She died August 20, 1970, 23 years after Dad died. We have all had good years since with our own families. We still like to go back to the old home on the hill. It belongs to Tiny Johnson now. In this 20th century, we would have been considered poor people, but we had everything. We had love for each other, love for our neighbors, and love for God. So many good days have since come and gone, but we still have these precious memories. My memory is not as good as it used to be, and without Helen, I could have never written this. I realize I must now be entering the uncharted massa of days along the high slope of the last mountain, and below it there will be the shadows of the highest cove, but little that matters beyond the cove, and this I know, I shall walk into the unending sunshine. Hazel George Baker, April 1, 1988 is when she wrote this. So that is the end of the booklet, and the next page she has a picture of her and her siblings, the 3 brothers, and her and her 2 sisters. And I'll just show this to you. Now, if you need to see that longer, you can just pause the video and look at it there. But that was the last page of the booklet, and I sure hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I'm glad she wrote these words down so we can know from her words what it was like growing up in that era of time. And I thank Carol for allowing me to read the book and putting it on YouTube. So come back tomorrow. We'll have something different then, and hopefully it will be just as good. So keep walking in the light. I love you, and God bless you.